As Muslims, we are taught to seek common ground with the people of the book, not to dilute our faith, but to invite with wisdom. Yet let's not confuse shared principles with shared realities. Take the claim that Ramadan and Lent are similar. On the surface, sure, both involve fasting, but dig deeper, and what you uncover isn't common ground. It's a chasm that exposes a stark truth. Islam preserves, Christianity debates. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Baqarah, O you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, that you may attain taqwa. So yes, fasting unites the Abrahamic traditions, but here's where the paths diverge radically. Let's talk about Lent. Imagine a medieval Christian saint time traveling to 2025. They would barely recognize Lent, the very fast they once practiced. Why? Because Lent isn't what it used to be. In fact, it's a perfect example of how Christianity has a habit of updating its traditions to fit the times. But if you listen to practicing Christians who care about their religion, this is exactly why they fast too.
Yeah, fasting has nothing to do with dieting, but it has everything to do with growth and holiness, spiritual growth, the soul, humbling ourselves. In the Ash Wednesday, we heard the Prophet Joel declaring a fast and saying we humble ourselves and we're putting on sackcloth and ashes, and we're showing that we're little and how much we need God.
Early Christians fasted 40 days, but not as you see today. Back then, it meant one meal a day. After sunset, no meat, dairy, or wine. A true austerity. Today, for many, Lent is symbolic, giving up chocolate, social media, or soda. A 6th century monk would scoff at the loopholes. You call this fasting? You're debating whether lattes count? And let's not forget how the rules keep changing. The Vatican has tweaked Lenten practices for centuries. Pope Gregory slashed Sundays from the 40-day count. Modern Catholics debate fish fries, cheat days, and dispensations. It's like Lent is on a subscription plan. Terms and conditions apply, subject to change without notice. Even some devout Christians admit Lent is optional for salvation. Compare this to Ramadan, a pillar of Islam, non-negotiable for every accountable Muslim. Miss it without valid reason, you have wronged your soul. No debates, no loopholes, technically. But in the past, it wasn't like that at all. Church fathers and medieval Christian saints were very clear that not only should fasting consist of one meal per day, but people should be abstaining from flesh and anything that comes from it, including dairy.
You give up meat during Lent, but you also give up eggs and dairy and animal byproducts. This is what Thomas Aquinas says in the 13th century. For this reason, the eating of flesh meat is forbidden in every fast, while the Lenten fast lays a general prohibition even on eggs and milk foods. So Thomas says, we fast from meat during other times, which he would be referencing times like Advent or the Assumption fast in August. But he's like, during Lent, we all fast from eggs and dairy, even though it can look a little bit differently regionally at other times. And you can find evidence all over the place. Pope St. Gregory the Great talks about it. We abstain from flesh, meat, and from all things that come from flesh as milk, cheese, and eggs. Wow. St. Benedict, to deny oneself that one may follow Christ, to chastise the body, to embrace delights, to love fasting. Yes.
Now let's talk about Ramadan. For 1400 years, Ramadan has stood as Allah's timeless command. Same duration, 29 or 30 days. Lunar months fixed by the Creator. Same rigor. No food, drink, or intimacy from dawn to sunset, wherever you are on earth. No pope, council, or cultural trend dares dilute it. No reforms to accommodate modernity. The Muslim in 7th century Mecca 15th century Timbuktu and 21st century London all fast the same Ramadan. Meanwhile, Lent has become a buffet of optional sacrifices. I'll give up Netflix, but only on weekends. I'll skip meat, except on Fridays when there's a fish fry. It's almost as if the goal is to make fasting as convenient as possible, because heaven forbid anyone actually feels hungry. This is the proof of Islam, not in the similarities with past faiths, but in the preservation of divine truth. Christianity bends. Islam stands. Lent mutates. Ramadan remains. And in that contrast lies a lesson. When God himself guards a religion, no human hand can alter its pillars. The beauty of Islam, on the other hand, lies in its absolute submission to Allah. Just as Ibrahim alayhi salam declared, I have submitted to the Lord of the worlds. We too submit unconditionally. When Allah commands us to fast, we fast. Not because it's easy, but because it's obligation. Hunger, thirst, fatigue, none of it tempers our resolve. We don't bend the rules to fit our desires. We bend our desires to fit Allah's command. And this submission isn't limited to fasting. It's the essence of our deen. When the call to prayer echoes, we rise, no matter how heavy our eyelids or how busy our schedules. When zakah is due, we give, not as charity, but as a right owed to Allah's creation. When we guard our tongues, we do so knowing every word is accounted for. When we wear hijab, we wear it as a crown of faith, not a burden of culture. This is Islam, a life of total submission, not selective convenience. And in that submission lies our honor, our strength, and our gratitude. So let us cherish this gift. Let us fast this Ramadan, not as a ritual, but as an act of true ibadah, a reminder that we are slaves of Allah. And in that slavery lies our ultimate freedom. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us steadfast on the straight path. May He accept our fasts, our prayers, our sadaqah, and all our good deeds during this blessed month. And may He make us among those who truly submit, not just in Ramadan, but in every moment of our lives.